Welcome to Villa of Hope Radio. Brought to you by Villa of Hope, partnering with individuals, families, and communities to rebuild relationships, recover potential, renew hope for the future. Villa of Hope is all about your personal journey because you matter. Now, with caring hope and respect, we're proud to bring you Villa of Hope Radio.
Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Villa of Hope radio show. This is J.C. DeLast talking with Villa of Hope, Rebuild, Recover, and Renew. And in this segment, we're going to talk about workforce development at Villa of Hope. And for that, we bring in the director of the Workforce Development Program, LeVar Sanders, who's going to tell us more about that. And LeVar, thanks for joining us. And let's start a little bit with your background and how you ended up with Villa of Hope, some of the different things you've done there.
First, thanks for having me. Started up at the Villa of Hope about 14 years ago as a teacher assistant working with at-risk youth in the Villa of Hope School. From that, I transitioned to the residential program, which focused on young males post-incarceration coming to try to renew lives and get an economic base for themselves. So we set up an all-boys cottage just to provide some of those skills for youth to just get them better prepared for the community as they transition back home. From that, I had the pleasure of being invited to join this wonderful workforce development program, which was focusing more on an economic base, trying to focus on the social determinants of health in the Rochester area, trying to tackle the poverty initiative, and just to leave the youth more with an aftercare approach to go back into the community with some tools that they can use to better themselves in their own community.
LeVar, from your background, it looks like you've got experience but also education, or a nice combination. How do you feel like that's helping you in developing this program?
Well, education-wise, so I received my master's degree from Nazareth in higher education, and that was some of my main focuses coming into the program is how can I implement some of those skills and some of them studies to some of the youth in the program. And we created a career development curriculum that can kind of tailor to each individual coming into the program so they can get a realistic view of how things will look after they leave the program.
Specifically now, when we talk about the workforce development program, and you've touched on it there, but give us kind of a thumbnail sketch here. What is the workforce development program? Is this for adults? Is this a combination? And what exactly makes up all the parts of the program?
Okay. First, we developed the program to focus more on the youth that was in residential care at the Villa of Hope campus, which is on Dewey Avenue. And from that, we've seen more of a family struggle with the economic base piece of it. And we decided to create a wraparound care, which focuses on more of the family, the full family. And that we kind of went on to serve adults with our ACBS program, which is through Excellus Blue Cross. So we get referrals that refer to us to insurance companies that may need help in ongoing employment support or just need some bulk services as well. And with those services, we provide career readiness, get them kind of prepared for interviews through practice mock interviews. We actually provide interview clothing, transportation, and try to set them up for success. Work on more tailored career goals, which basically cater to each individual that entered the program. Try to really focus on, okay, what do you see yourself doing in the next 2 to 5 years? And we create solid goals around that to kind of set them up for success.
What would you say at this point, LeVar, in terms of your success rate? I mean, I'm looking at numbers here from just last year. You had over 600 8-week placements, and I know that's something you're really proud of, and obviously want to continue in that regard and make those numbers even bigger.
Yes, so we're trying to right now. We're trying to reach out to local funders to see how we can make an even a larger impact to the community of Rochester. So we're just kind of getting out there, plugging away, and letting the work speak for itself. And really doing exactly what we're putting on paper. You know, we're out there in the community trying to build community partners to develop work sites for young adults and adults in the program. And we actually have work sites on campus at our phase 1 stage to kind of just get them like the soft skilled or soft experience here, and then we kind of phase them out into the community and make sure they're well prepared to be in the community.
These 8-week placements, LeVar, are these paid internships? Or are these just really opportunities to kind of dip your toe in the water and see if it's something you want to do? How do the placements work?
Actually, they're both. We have paid and unpaid internships. And like I said, they're kind of tailored to the youth interests. For instance, we may have a youth that come into the program and say they're interested in animals. So we'll reach out to a local animal shelter and say, hey, would you mind taking a youth on as an internship for about 6 to 8 weeks? And they would say, yeah. And sometimes we may pay the youth to work in the program, and sometimes it would be more like a volunteer-based opportunity.
How about your success rate as far as turning those placements into full-time positions? A pretty good success rate so far?
It's a pretty good success rate so far. We discharged about 8 seniors from high school this last school year, and out of those 8 seniors that graduated, 5 of them are actually working with some of our community placements, which is great, especially during a time like we have now during the COVID pandemic. So we're very pleased with that. And we're usually doing about 50% of our participants usually connect with our community work sites after finishing and doing internships, and we're looking to grow that number this year.
Well, and you know this too, that opportunity to learn at a position, to really kind of see what you want to do, boy, that is critical, as you talked about with your seniors and the senior class there that graduated, now they go on to a full-time job. And you really have that opportunity to figure out for kids at that age, what is it they really want to do? And this is a perfect opportunity for that.
Yes. And we provide on-site job coaching to support all of our participants at the job site. And we actually provide each work site with trauma-informed care supervision, which kind of gives you an idea of the population that we have and what we serve, and just to give you better prepared as a work site if these particular participants may have any struggles or issues at the job. You're kind of trained in this to understand how to deal with situations that may happen at the job. Things such as tardiness or just understanding the task at hand. So we're making sure that we're there to kind of support our youth pre and post. We keep track of our youth after they finish in the program and within the community for a little over a year, just to kind of check in and make sure things are still going great. So we really track our success, and we're really fortunate to have a great group of people coming in and a great team to work with to serve our community.
We're talking with LeVar Sanders, the director of the Workforce Development Program at Villa of Hope. And, of course, LeVar, COVID has been a challenge for everyone. I know for you guys as well. How's your team been able to deal with all the COVID situation and continue this program and be successful with it?
I mean, we feel that it was our job to really face COVID head on. We know that as an essential business that was a responsibility for us, and we really got proactive and really practiced. So how would things look during COVID? We switched over to a more hybrid model for our youth that's involved in our program. So we went completely remotely for a while, doing career readiness, allowing our youth to kind of visit work sites remotely, do virtual tours at some of our work sites. And we're fortunate to have our community partners really with us all the way, and they really supported us to make sure we can really produce good services during such a tough time. We're not having that hands-on experience. A lot of our youth are really visual and hands-on learners. However, through our team, we were able to really get creative around that and support our youth and adults during this time.
LeVar, tell me about your staff. Pretty special group of people, isn't it?
Phenomenal group. Very fortunate and blessed to have so much of a dedicated staff and committed to the mission and vision of the agency. We were out there during the whole COVID, and we really supported each other and the support of our clients, and making sure that we check in, daily with all of our clients, touch base, keep our community partners engaged with us throughout the crisis. So the team is very, very committed, and I'm very fortunate to be a part of such a great team.
How about that group as far as going above and beyond, especially during COVID? That really does make a big difference, doesn't it?
A big difference, and seeing how we're coming out of COVID, because a lot of businesses struggle through this time, and I think we actually excelled during this time. We found new ways to provide services for our individuals in the program, using that, like I said before, using that hybrid model, and it was a success. We was able to do mock interviews, kind of practice, do small little career fairs, and still be connected with community partners. So when this whole pandemic is over, there's still opportunities for our clients to be involved with after.
LeVar, give us kind of what's a typical day working with the kids that are in the workforce development program. What would be a typical day for your job coaches there? Just
to kind of check in with community sites, going into community sites, seeing basically how our clients are doing at the sites, checking with our clients, making sure each morning, making sure they don't have any transportation issues, just keeping feeling reminders of are things running smoothly? Do you need any kind of support from us? We do weekly check-ins at all of our sites, and for individuals that come into the program, for the first 2 or 3 weeks, we're kind of making more of a daily 2 to 3 days out of a week visit to them, just to kind of check on and get them comfortable during the job, and just kind of seeing, okay, what do you guys need from us? How can we support you at the job site? And we do the same thing for our work sites. Anything they need from us, we there to kind of support and make it more of a community collaboration.
What's some of that feedback you've been able to get from the students, and how's that helped you kind of shape the program moving forward as well?
Through our pre and post surveys, we always ask students to, just to let us know how can we enhance the program, and what are some of the things and some of the trends that we see. They really enjoy the job coach piece of it, having that support, and being able to have that emergency transportation. Just because things happen. Sometimes you may wake up late and you may miss your bus that's heading out, and to have that job coach there that's willing to come get you is like kind of having a job coach Uber there to come pick you up, So, and that's a big support. Or things may happen at the job, you may not feel well, and you may not want to ride public transportation, and we're there to support you there as well. And they really, really love the program and love how consistent we are and how dedicated we are to make sure they're successful.
LeVar Sanders, Director of Workforce Development Program at Villa of Hope. We're going to talk to you again more in the next segment, but I want to bring in Gerianne Puskas now, who's the Chief Advancement Officer at Villa of Hope. And Gerianne, I know this has been a program that is still relatively new, and yet it has made some really great strides in such a short amount of time, hasn't it?
It really has, and to have the opportunity to see the effect that having employment has on somebody, and to see a young person who didn't think they could ever get a job to do a resume, to have interviews, and then to secure a job, that confidence growing is just an amazing thing to see. And it's exactly what we felt was missing when we started thinking about, how can we help young people? At the time we were only working with youth. How can we help young people transition to being on their own? Because at that time, they would graduate high school and that was it. If you didn't go to college, you went to work, but they didn't know how to go to work. They didn't have that background. So, we started thinking about where are the gaps here? What can we do? And so we started to fill those gaps in with, thinking about, let's give them some job skills. Let's see if we can make some community partnerships. Hey, we could even do some teaching right here on our campus so that they can learn how to get up and go to work while they're living on campus here. And, just like any job, if you're late to work 3 days in a row, you went down to HR and you had to talk to somebody about it and understand the effect it has on your paycheck. And it's good to be able to do that in a safe environment like the Villa here. So, in its infancy, that's where we started, and we started with about 16 kids the first go-around with it. And to hear LeVar having this past year 617 placements for 8-week positions is just astounding to see that kind of growth. But it also shows that's the demand. There is a real need for a program like this it's very customized. LeVar and his team do an amazing job of trying to make sure that they're matching up youth and adults with something that they're interested in, because we all know work is easier to go to if you're interested. So that kind of work really makes a big, big difference.
Well, and Gerianne, you've talked about this in the past, that the partnerships within the community, just critical to the success of this and many other programs with Villa of Hope.
We wouldn't be where we are without the partnerships for anything here at the Villa. This program particularly, because there's expertise outside the Villa that can feed the imagination and the motivation of people who are seeking jobs and trying to grow in their career path, we have to go externally and find those partnerships. And it's really finding partners that are willing to take a little bit of time to educate themselves. We work with trauma-informed supervision trainings so that employers understand, a little bit about the history of what trauma is and how that can play out in the workforce. And we've started hearing that a lot of employers are using that just in their general model of management because it makes so much sense. So, these partnerships are so critical, and the ability to work with places like, we work very closely with the Grease Rotary and a lot of the members and their businesses there, State Farm, Bob Johnson, and a lot of places we work. We're going to have Monica from Baden Street is going to talk in a little bit. We've worked with Goodwill. We've worked with Food Link. So we've had quite a few partnerships that really add a lot of experience that the Villa alone could not provide. And I think that just kind of speaks to the need for community to come together to help people.
Well, and Gerianne, for kids and adults right now, this is a very difficult time, and when we all know what's happening in our world, a very divided world, it seems to me a program like this is something that everybody can get behind.
Absolutely. Anybody can get behind this because I think we all know somebody who has struggled with finding work or maybe struggling with that now. And what happens when somebody is out of work and they've worked in the past? Sometimes it comes along with depression, anxiety, stress. So I have a family to support and I'm stressed out and I think I need some help. We can provide therapy along with career development. We can provide substance use treatment along with career development. We can treat things at the same time so that we can help somebody get back on their feet the quickest as possible. Because that's what people really want, to be independent. They want to be on their own. Nobody wants to be, addicted or unemployed. Nobody asks for that. So we try to get people back to a place where they feel good about themselves and about their families and that they can take care of them.
Well, Gerianne Puskas with us here again, Chief Advancement Officer at Villa of Hope. We're going to talk to Gerianne more as we continue along with our program. We'll take a break, and when we come back in our next segment, we're going to talk with an adult who is currently in the Workforce Development Program at Villa of Hope. Stick around. You're listening to the Villa of Hope radio show right here on the WYSL stations.
For over 75 years, Villa of Hope has risen to meet the changing needs of our community. Caring staff at the Villa know trauma and how it can change your life. As we face personal challenges, the Villa stands as a place where individuals, youth, and families can rebuild relationships, recover potential, and renew hope for the future. For more information, visit villaofhope.org or call 1-833-993-HOPE.
You're listening to Villa of Hope Radio on the WYSL stations.
Villa of Hope is in this with you. Fear of COVID-19 and uncertainty about the future creates a need for many people to get more support from their community. For many, things like not knowing how you can access childcare so you can go to work, wondering if you can go to work, and not being able to pick up the groceries you need because of empty shelves can cause anxiety and stress. This is serious. Talk to someone. Call 1-833-993-HOPE.
Safeguarding your freedoms and your future. The WYSL stations.
Welcome back to the Villa of Hope radio show. Villa of Hope. Rebuild, recover, and renew. This is J.C. DeLass. And in this segment, we're going to talk about the adult portion of the Workforce Development Program. And we kind of touched on that a little bit in segment one with LeVar Sanders, who again is the director for the Workforce Development Program. LeVar, it has expanded, hasn't it? I mean, initially this was really for the kids that were in the program, the students there, and now working with adults. How has that kind of changed things for you?
Yeah, it changed tremendously. We found the need that was in the community by reaching out to some of our youth who actually parents may struggle finding work. So we decided to tackle this head on and reach out to other organizations who are actually doing the work, and we found that we can actually provide some of those career development services for adults as well.
There are other career development services that are out there, but how is yours different? Because I think you do things from maybe a little bit of a different angle, don't you?
Yes, we tackle it in a way that we provide the same services. You know, some adults may be coming home or recently incarcerated, come home for the first time, and may just need like that job coach there to support them to the changes that's been going on in the community. You know, for instance, we had a young man who actually was previously incarcerated and probably about 20 years ago. And before he went in, it was like Kodak was a company that was really booming in the Rochester area. So him coming home looking for employment, his first thing was like, you know, I want to reach out to Kodak. But unfortunately, Kodak is not that same company that it was 20, 30 years ago. And we were able to kind of do the same career readiness stuff that we do with our youth and kind of prepare them for what's out there now and match them up with a partner that we feel that can suit his needs.
It's really like having your pulse on the community, right, and finding out where the needs are and then helping these folks, these adults that are coming to you, helping them kind of figure out where they fit in.
Absolutely, and making it tailor-made for them, for we can get that commitment for them to really be engaged in the program, because it's very challenging when you're working with adults that kind of have their mindset on one thing and just trying to have them get more open to other opportunities that's available, because we have a lot of community work sites that's willing to employ adults, but we have to have the adults willing to be committed to changing their mindset and trying something new and being innovative in the way of thinking.
You know, we were talking to Gerianne in the last segment about that support that you've seen from the community, and I know that's a big part of what you do is reaching out to area businesses and opening their eyes and opening their minds to this program. How do you feel like it's been received, again, when you're in there and you're kind of making your pitch?
I'm fortunate enough I had some very, very great experiences working with community partners, just going in and saying, hey, this is what the services that we provide. We're willing to kind of give you an internship, and we'll pay them to work with you. And if you commit to hiring after the 6-week mark, if you like the employee, you can hire them full time. So we kind of sell it that way. We want to really support our community partners as well. They may need an extra hand, and we'll say, hey, we'll cover the first 6 to 8 weeks. And from that on, if you like the employee that we sent to you, are you willing to hire them full time? And it usually works. We're fortunate enough to have a group that comes in of clients that's really dedicated to finding employment. So it's a great partnership, and we're really happy with our community, how our community is treating this program.
So, LeVar, how would an adult needing to work on their work skills and build them up, how would they get into this program?
We're currently referral-based, but with new grant funding, we're open to kind of change the referral process. We get majority of our referrals through Excellus, an insurance company, through our community programs. But we also had members from the community call and have adults that actually need employment, and we provide those services for free. Hey, if you want to get some practice mock interviewing or you want to get some resume development, we're here for you. So we are willing, and we did take in a few referrals just from requests of some of our community partners who really love what we're doing in the community and say, hey, this program is great, and they can kind of get you prepared for the workforce.
LeVar Sanders, Director of Workforce Development Program at Villa of Hope. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate the information, and good luck, continued success with your program.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to bring in now James Fulmore, who is actually a client for the Workforce Development Program, one of the adult clients. And James, we were just talking to LeVar about that. How did you get connected with Villa of Hope in the beginning and also get connected with this program?
Well, I got connected with Villa of Hope through a lady named Angie Rotolo. She works for Villa as well. She told me about the program. I was very interested in it, and I just got justice to everybody. And I like everybody that's in the program, and being able to bond with everybody and let them get to know a little bit of my background and who I am as a person. And things like that.
There's other programs similar somewhat to this, James, that are out there. Did you look at some of those other local programs too before you settled on this one?
No, not really. I really was interested in this one. I didn't really look at any other type of programs other than this one that I knew about. It's the only one I really knew about. I didn't really know any other programs other than this one.
James, give us a little bit of an idea. What's your typical day when you're in the program? What's your experience like?
I would say it's pretty good. It's pretty nice and pretty friendly oriented, and it's pretty friendly overall. Pretty nice experience.
How about some of the placements? Have you had a placement? Have you been in a work environment yet, or is that still to come?
No, I haven't done it yet.
What do you think, James, has been the most valuable thing that you've been able to take away from being involved in the program?
Getting to link up with like-minded people such as myself and being able to really understand, for them to understand me and for me to understand them as well, and being able to bond and socialize with them, with good people that's here, things like that.
Sure. James, you've got folks listening right now who may have lost their job during COVID especially. They're not sure what to do next. What would you want to tell those folks? Again, kind of following maybe in your footsteps a little bit. What would you tell those folks?
Not to give up, and I would recommend Villa of Hope because it's a good program for people such as myself and more people that's looking for employment or any type of help.
James Fulmore, again, one of the clients for Workforce Development Program. Thanks for joining us and telling us your story. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Let's bring Gerianne Puskas back in again. She's Chief Advancement Officer for Villa of Hope. Well, Gerianne, I know you're familiar with James's story, and you know, those are somewhat typical, right? The people that are going through this program just trying to get things figured out. And James's story, I know you've seen it many, many times.
Yes, we see a lot of folks who don't really know what they want to do or appreciate what they have skills in. So they don't know that if they already have some skills that can help them get a job. We help point that out for them. And, you know, for example, James was helping out with our golf tournament yesterday. He's been out helping people move. You know, a lot of different experiences to say, okay, I liked this, I didn't like that. I liked the activity, I didn't like sitting still. I liked talking to people all day, I didn't. So we can start to whittle down and find something that really fits someone's personality and their skill set to say, you know what, you might be better working in accounting because you love math and you like to work independently as opposed to somebody who wants to be out in the public selling door to door or something like that. So, a lot of folks don't have that kind of knowledge about their own skill set. So it's a little bit of a process to get to that and to work with people. And it takes a team like LeVar and LaShawn and his whole team to really have those conversations and to talk that through.
Jerry, and I know many times you can come at this from a clinical side of things, too. And, I mean, this program sounds terrific, but certainly there's an effect on people from a clinical perspective, isn't there?
Yes, there is. And we actually have gathered data here at Villa of Hope to show that. When we first started the program, we started measuring behavior of some of the youth in the program, and we measure that by different activities, different ways of acting out, whether in school or in their cottage or on campus. And we found that the kids who had the highest ACEs score, so if you don't know what an ACEs score is, it's acute childhood experiences. And really what that is it's your trauma history. And the higher your score, the more trauma you've encountered, whether you've had a single-parent home, if you've been abused, if you had a parent incarcerated, a whole variety of these things. So you could have up to an ACEs score of 10. We found, and we were actually able to prove with data from our program, that the young people who had the highest ACEs scores, the most traumatic histories, responded the best to this program. In fact, I can tell you a really cool story about one of our young men who he had some incidents, and he acted out because he was very upset about something. He was triggered based on past trauma, and he had done some damage in the cottage. And so a few very, very bright people here at the Villa said, hey, why don't we get him in the work-based learning program, and his job can be fixing the things that he damaged when he was acting out. And, there was a lot of discussion about that, but I'll tell you, this young man went from having 30 incidents in 1 month to 0 incidents. And the really cool thing is this young man actually went on to tell his housemates, hey, be careful, I redid that drywall, don't mess it up. Yeah. He was talking to the girls saying, don't throw trash out your bedroom window, get out here and pick it up, keep this clean, because I had to clean it yesterday. But it was really nice to see all of a sudden the ownership and the pride. And he didn't want to get into trouble. He didn't want to do those things. He had another outlet so that he could really cope with some of his trauma. He found something he had confidence in, and he was doing good things. And then he was able to actually spread that to other kids in his cottage. And, we see all the incidents in the cottage start going down because everybody's starting to get on board with this. It's contagious. It really is.
Well, and did that surprise you, Gerianne, that the kids that had the highest scores, in other words, the ones that certainly had the most difficulties or traumatic events in their life as younger people, they actually responded the best to this program? Was that almost like, wow, how did that happen? Or was that something that was an intended consequence?
I would love to say that we planned it all along. But I think what it was really is it was safe, that everybody who comes through this program is going to learn and going to grow. But then all of a sudden the data came in and we saw this inverse proportion of how, the highest ACEs scores lower the incidence for the best outcomes. And that's when we realized that the people who have the most trauma histories need this program the most and can benefit the most from being a part of this, and let alone just the leadership development and the ability to have somebody who in the past did not think that they would have a future. I think we've talked about Noah in the past on past shows, a young man who, his question for his future was, when am I going to go to jail? And now he has a scholarship to MCC. He's been employed in the community. He's been doing terrific. He's got an apartment in our apartment program. So, this is somebody who didn't have a future at all, who has responded in ways where he's trying to find ways that he can share what he's learned to help others at the same time.
I'll tell you, Gerianne, I mean, a program like this workforce development program, it really is one of the few programs that touches parts of almost all the other programs at the Villa, and that goes from the youth right up through adults, too.
Yes, we find ways to work with anybody because this is not just a youth issue. This is not just an adult issue. It does mean that we have to flex and we have to be creative and we have to customize. We do not believe that everybody should go into a cookie-cutter program. This work-based learning program is so successful because the attention is paid to making it customizable. And to even think, we've got somebody who is in Lighthouse, which is our young men's residential rehab unit, substance use. And so there are different needs there than somebody who may be living in the community as an adult. So making sure that we can have very specific ways to approach programs, that we have the resources. Some people are going to work on campus. Some people are living in the community and they need a ride from their home to a job in the community. And so we have to go out there and we need to help meet them where they're at so that we can get them where they need to be. And it really is a partnership working with the people in the program because, they've got the hard work of thinking about themselves and discovering themselves and then going to work. Really, all we're doing is we're just helping them get there.
Well, it's an outstanding program, workforce development program at Villa of Hope, and we're going to learn more about it in our next segment coming up. We're going to talk about an organization that is currently partnering with this program and how it is helping their business as well. So stick around, more to come here with the Villa of Hope radio show on the WYSL stations.
You're listening to the voice of liberty.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
For over 75 years, Villa of Hope has risen to meet the changing needs of our community. Caring staff at the Villa know trauma and how it can change your life. As we face personal challenges, the Villa stands as a place where individuals, youth, and families can rebuild relationships, recover potential, and renew hope for the future. For more information, visit villaofhope.org or call 1-833-993-HOPE.
You're listening to Villa of Hope Radio on the WYSL stations.
Villa of Hope is here to help. Our Monroe County Department of Public Health is working diligently to reduce the chances of spreading the COVID-19 virus, and it's important we all follow those recommendations. That does not mean you cannot reach out for help. The Villa is here. We have people ready to take your call and get you the help you need. Whether you need general counseling, family support, MAT, or a compassionate ear, we are here. Call 1-833-993-HOPE.
The one media outlet you can count on. The voice of liberty. The WYSL stations.
Welcome back to the Villa of Hope radio show. This is J.C. DeLass. Happy to have the folks with Villa of Hope here. Rebuild, recover, and renew. And we've been talking about the workforce development program at the Villa. And in this segment, we're going to bring in Monica Hanks, who's here with us from Baden Street Settlement, and talk about their involvement with this workforce development program. And Monica, tell us a little bit, for folks that don't know, and I know it's been in the Rochester community for some time now, but I still think maybe there are some people that don't know, what exactly is the Baden Street Settlement?
Okay, thank you for having me. Baden Street Settlement is a nonprofit organization that was founded in 1901 to serve the Northeast Rochester community through programs and services. And it works to improve the life of the adults, the children, and the families. And some of the programs that we have at Baden Street is we have our activities department that works on enrichment. We have the Alvin Wesley Child Development Center. We have the Dr. George C. Simmons Counseling and Support Center, which is also in the process of, on their second floor, adding a mental health component. We have our Emergency and Family Assistance Program, which the director referred to as the backbone of the program because they're a point where someone can get help with anything, from rental assistance to food. They have a food cupboard on site. Also up under your Emergency and Family Assistance Program, they have a clothing room that's open to the community. They also have a senior program called Mature Adult Resource Center, which is currently not operating due to COVID. We also have Metro Council on Teen Potential, which has a few programs, including what a lot of people are familiar with is the In Control program. And we also have the Behavioral Health program, whose focus is working with people that are developmentally disabled. So those are some of our programs. Right now we're going through a change because the current executive director, Ron Thomas, is retiring after 27 years of service. We're having an event for him on Saturday, October 3rd. Information about it can be found on our website, badenstreet.org. All proceeds from the event is going back to Baden Street. Our new executive director, Michael Marsh, started on September 14th. So this is his second week. So we have a lot of changes going on, trying to move forward with everything that's going on in the world and with COVID. So, yeah.
Well,
we're pretty busy.
It sounds very busy, Monica. How about for you in particular? What kinds of things do you do there?
Okay, I just started back at Baden Street on August 3rd. My position there is a special assistant to the executive director. So kind of what I serve as is a support for the executive director, support for the board of directors, support for our executive team, helping with development, fundraising, and event planning. So usually to give people a visual, when people are like, well, what do you do at Baden? I said, think of like a garbage plate. So I kind of do a little of this, a little of that, just to make sure everything goes down smoothly.
I like that. Well, honestly, though, Monica, the way you've described it to me, I had a little bit of knowledge about Baden Street, not a ton, just a little bit, but it really sounds like you guys have evolved just even in the last, 10, 15 years. The menu of services that you have, it seems to me, has really expanded.
Absolutely, they have. And the other thing we're doing under the new leadership is he's evaluating what we have, and he's looking at what we don't provide and trying to figure out how can we provide that. And one of the things that he's talking about that he would like to do has to do with young people, which is so great as it leads into our partnership with the Villa of Hope and being able to be a site for young people to gain that life skill experience.
Is that the partnership, too, for Baden Street, is getting together with Villa of Hope in that common goal to help the youth?
Absolutely. Right now, the main program that we have, our activities department and MCTP work with young people, but I've worked with young people probably my whole career, and I'm always, every opportunity that I can get to implement young people into something to learn a life skill or develop a skill set, that's absolutely what my goal is.
Monica Hanks is with us from Baden Street Settlement. And Monica, tell me about the value for your agency in partnership with a place like Villa of Hope and the different things that they do. How does that also help you? Okay,
so the current position that we have that we're utilizing is a receptionist position, but it's also the hub of the agency. So they have to have a little knowledge of each program. They do some work for other supervisors, may ask them to do a task when they see their skill set. The other thing we do to try to add on to what they already get through the training they go with Mr. Sanders is we've developed a binder to introduce them like they're a new employee to the agency, to give them that experience of them going through some training and things related to being an employee, having them look over our employee handbook, understand the expectations when you're on a job and what people are looking for. And the best part about it is being able to utilize their skill set. From the summer program, I'm used to Outlook, but at Baden Street now, they focus on Google Suite. So one of the young ladies was like, well, while you're teaching me that, I can teach you Google Suite. I said, that works for me.
I like the way you think. Absolutely. I mean, because we all know these kids know way more about the computer stuff than we do, right?
Way more. Way more.
No doubt about it.
There was no need for me to bust a bustle trying to figure it out when she already knew it.
Well, you get interns that are right there on site, but I really like the training aspect here, Monica. And, tell me a little bit more about that. I mean, that ability to get the kids in there and really give them the hands-on experience that they need so much.
Yeah, our goal was to try to get them to get the most out of it. So we didn't want it to be where they just come there and they're bored. So by having them, like when you start a job, you start with your new hire training. So that's how we have it set up. I also developed a manual that helps them in learning how to work different aspects and different equipment. So the front phone is not your regular phone, so you have to know how to do certain things. The fax machine, the copier, like all the equipment that we already have instructions written out on how to utilize it. We provided them with key people to call or contact if they had a problem with something. We try to stay close to where they are in case of a situation when you're dealing with community people, and unfortunately everybody isn't always friendly, which helps them with problem-solving skills. So it's a real experience for them, but it's a great experience for us.
Well, Monica, and you kind of touched on this briefly, that we're in difficult times, no question about that. Many things are happening, and one of them in particular, COVID. And how did Baden Street, how did you guys handle it? How do you continue to kind of deal with the difficulties with COVID right now?
I can speak of it since I've been there, because I got there August 3rd, and they were already in the midst of it. And there were people that were working remotely, and currently all our board meetings and the committees for the board are via Zoom. Right. One of the things that our daycare and the activities department is working on right now is how do they provide that virtual learning and stuff that they normally provide for youth? How do they provide that still? So they're in the process of trying to figure that out. Every day is a different day and new information, and with each day, we're learning more and how to adjust the programs to be able to provide the best service for people. So each program has made the adjustments that they need to make, and they continue to make those adjustments all the time. But the best thing about it is we have a lot of communication about how can we support and helping each program to make the adjustments they need to make.
Well, it sounds like Baden Street's really at an interesting time in that you've got a change in leadership. As you said, you just came on board a short time ago, got a new executive director, really pushing forward now. Give us your thoughts on where you see Baden Street Settlement going now. Again, with new leadership in place, give me that 5 or 10 years out picture that you have in your mind, or at least that you know you guys are now moving toward.
Well, I know we've had conversation of moving toward providing more youth-based programs, like what we're doing right now with the Villa of Hope and the workforce development. We've talked about that. We've talked briefly a little bit about transitional housing for young people. So it's forever changing, and there's nothing right now written in stone. It's the new executive director, learning the program and figuring out what direction to move us in next so that we continue to build and grow and to be an asset for the community for which we are in.
Monica Hanks from Baden Street Settlement, thanks so much for joining us and telling your story, continued success, and thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Let's bring Gerianne Puskas back in. Well, Gerianne, you've got a great partnership there with Baden Street, and I know that's something that's very important to you and to Villa of Hope.
It is, and I think, Monica hit on a really good point while she was talking about asking for help and providing resources for the people working through our workforce development program at their site. Because as she was saying that, I was thinking, my gosh, I remember when my 28-year-old was much younger, and I would say to him, why don't you follow up and make a phone call to check on that resume? Why don't you ask somebody for help? And he was so resistant to asking for help. So, that's one of those hurdles, right? If they can learn this in a safe environment, I think people are going to feel so much better when they go out and they're not afraid to start a job because they know they can ask for help. That's one of those examples of you don't get that in a textbook. You get that through experience. So, that's why these partnerships are so important, because you're going to get things that you can't get in a book. You're not going to get it in a classroom or on YouTube or anything else. You get it by living it and having that experience and having kind, educated, intelligent people who are working with you to help you along the way.
Well, I think that's interesting because the point you're making there that not all these students or even these young adults have a mom or dad that's there to guide them along and ask the questions that you asked or that I asked with my kids and help follow up and such. A program like this can really help fill in the gap for someone that doesn't have that resource.
Right. We had a young man who was in the program on campus who was showing up to work late every day. And I mentioned earlier how if you show up to work late, you're going to go to the HR department just like you would at any job that you might have. And come to find out, he didn't have an alarm clock, so he didn't wake up on time. He didn't know to ask for help, and he hadn't had a role model where getting up to go to work every day was the norm. I don't know if he was living with a grandparent who was retired, or I don't know the situation, but I do know he didn't have that role model. So it's so important to have these pieces that, it's not somebody not wanting to work. It's a matter of not having that skill. A $9 alarm clock solved the problem.
Yeah.
He was never late after that. So, it's hard. You can't judge a person by something like that when you realize, it's a little alarm clock. That's all it was needed.
Yeah. Well, so Gerianne, how can our community support the Villa's work, and especially when it comes to this program?
I think the biggest thing is for people in their businesses to encourage internships, to encourage some of the hiring some of the folks that we have in our program. So engaging with our career exploration, which could be doing a career talk via Zoom for 45 minutes, or it could be, one thing that seems to go over very well is, hey, do a virtual tour behind the scenes of your business, right? That not everybody gets to see this, but we can take you back here. And hopefully when COVID is over, we're all knocking on wood here in the conference room. When COVID is over, invite some folks in to take that tour, because that's when the interest is raised, because it's not what you see every day on the front end of a lot of jobs and a lot of work. And it really engages folks, and they really want to get involved and learn more about your business. And those are the people you want working for you. They're grateful for what you have to share with them. And we have had some tremendous success, as LeVar was saying earlier, with people working in the community. I know we had one young man who was working at Champs in Henrietta that, they just kept asking, can he come back? Can he come back? Can he come back? And can't wait to have him back here because he brought a great energy, because he was so grateful for the opportunity to have a job where he thought he fit so well with it. So I ask that people in their businesses really consider hosting a position like this or a couple of positions. The Villa will come in. We'll talk to your team about trauma-informed supervision. We provide other things that we can deliver in the workplace as far as lunch and learns that, can help parents with their youth, can help people within their families look for, hints of mental illness. So we provide a lot of things that we can do in the workplace that for our community partners, we will come in and deliver that for free.
Gerianne Puskas, Chief Advancement Officer at Villa of Hope. You had some big shoes to fill today. Christina Gullo couldn't make it to the program, so we called on you to step in. You did a nice job, Gerianne. Way to go.
Thanks. I was afraid I was going to trip on those big shoes.
No. They weren't clown shoes. You did a wonderful job. Very nice. We're going to take a break. A final word when we come back on the WYSL stations.
For over 75 years, Villa of Hope has risen to meet the changing needs of our community. Caring staff at the Villa know trauma and how it can change your life. As we face personal challenges, the Villa stands as a place where individuals, youth, and families can rebuild relationships, recover potential, and renew hope for the future. For more information, visit villaofhope.org or call 1-833-993-HOPE.
You're listening to Villa of Hope Radio on the WYSL stations.
Villa of Hope is here for you. Adults, youth, parents, grandparents, no matter who you are, we are here to respond to you and make connections to the services you need right now. How that help looks may be different from before, but we are committed to making sure we are giving you our best while keeping everyone as safe as possible. Let us help rebuild your resilience. Call 1-877-584-HOPE. That's 1-833-993-HOPE.
More than 20,000 watts of truth. WYSL AM 1040, FM 92.1 and 95.5 West.
Well, folks, next time when we're with you for Villa of Hope and the Villa of Hope radio show, we're going to talk about the opioid issue in Monroe County and how Villa of Hope is helping families who are fighting this right now. So make sure you tune in again for a fresh show. It'll be on Thursday, October 22nd at 6:30, the Villa of Hope radio show right here on the WYSL stations.
Thanks for listening to Villa of Hope Radio on the WYSL stations. Find out more at villaofhope.org.